Alright, here's the next one. Blizzard rejects Diablo protest, lies about success, Diablo 4 leak concerns, and even more pay-to-win exposed by LegacyKillaHD. Let's go.
Or get a group together and just wail on these like giant world bosses. Just wail on these like giant world bosses.
You what? At the
It's a nice play on words. I kind of don't. I don't think it's coming for Diablo 4, but at this point, honestly, what the fuck do I know?
Xbox and Bethesda showcase, we got a new reveal for Diablo 4. It included a new class, the Necromancer, being revealed, as well as a gameplay overview, and it looks fantastic. The only issue is,
I'm not gonna lie. I do not like how Necromancer looks. Never like Necromancer, not in 2, not in 3, probably won't like it in 4, just not my thing. The blood looks weird, I'm not gonna lie. The blood wave thing, like, it looks like it shouldn't do a lot of damage. It looks more like something that should CC and do a bit of damage. And if it does a lot of damage, I don't think it would feel good.
is the fact that we all have trauma over Diablo
See, I don't like
Immortal,
this at
so I
all.
don't think any of us really
Yeah, it should
know
be a
what to
CC and
expect from
knockback.
this
I don't think it should do a lot of damage.
Obviously, the gameplay looked pretty darn impressive, but as we saw with Diablo Immortal,
I don't know. Again, it feels more Diablo-esque, but it also doesn't. Like, you shouldn't be like, there's no sense of danger in any of these. I have not seen a Diablo 4 trailer where it felt like there's a sense of danger.
that could be easily ruined with some horrendous monetization. Blizzard, though, on their part, have already began making promises, the right ones, in regards to how they will handle this next.
I do like that they copied the Diablo 2 character screen. I think they could have innovated a bit, but whatever.
Diablo game. The only issue with that is that it comes amidst the Diablo Immortal disaster, which that experience also received many empty promises before it finally released about a week ago, and it just continues to get worse as it is once again been exposed for some downright.
It's like, it feels like the reason I'm talking about the login screen, like the character creation, they could have been a bit more original. Like, for example, like you have a wizard. Why can't it be like in a on a rune casting magic when you click it? Why isn't the barbarian against like a dummy just like breaking shit? Why isn't the assassin like behind some dark corner? And instead of like clicking, you can click the character if you know their location, but also you can click the, like, let's say over here you're gonna have barbarian, necromancer, sorceress, demon hunter, whatever. Assassins. Like, you click the assassin, suddenly you see the assassins like right here behind like a dark corner, like turns to you, you know, like that. Like, where's the character in the character selection, you know? Instead of just them sitting by the fire, do you really think all of them would be sitting by the same fire with their different personalities and game styles and stuff? Like, I don't know, man. It was cool in Diablo 2 because it was new, but Diablo 4, man, honestly, don't just copy, innovate, you know? Make it more like the whole sitting by campfire. It's cool and all, but it's like you can use the same type of thing, the darkness thing, but have it in a completely different type of environment.
Right, shameless and manipulative secret design choices. Let's get into it. Over the last year or two, Blizzard has been in the spotlight for all of the wrong reasons.
Hell
We had
yeah.
the Blitzchung
Last 2
controversy.
years?
We've had the California lawsuits, which exposed some serious systemic issues happening.
Well, clearly Blizzard is not even at fault. Blizzard is completely innocent based on their investigation.
Blizzard. We also had the launch disasters of
What else are they
Diablo
gonna
2
say, really?
Resurrected and Warcraft 3 Reforged. But most recently, it's because of Diablo Immortal, their pay-to-win mobile experience that kind of everybody expected was going to be pay-to-win, but Blizzard just went ahead and did it anyway, which is kind of astonishing. You know, everybody had a negative reception to this when it was announced, and they still ended up ruining it. Because I'll say this, the gameplay experience of Diablo Immortal isn't bad. It's actually pretty darn good. The problem is all of that goes to waste when you have all of these...
I do not like the cooldowns in Diablo Immortal. I much rather prefer the resource management than cooldown management. Because otherwise, all you're doing is you're clicking shit on cooldown. That's not fun. Resource management is so much more interactive and makes you actually think about what you're clicking to an extent. Obviously, eventually you don't have to. But resource like cooldown management is literally just like if you're just in the middle of a fight, you just keep spamming buttons. That's not fun. You might as well put everything on one button and just like tap 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 tap.
Microtransactions that pretty much makes it impossible for a free-to-play player to win at this game. That's the best way to put it, especially when there's PvP involved in this. And we're going to be touching a little bit more on the microtransactions because while I discussed mostly legendary gems last video, there's been a lot more research in my own experience with this, and there's just so many more angles at this, which this is indeed pay to.
I really don't like that you can see the enemy units on the minimap if you are not actually near them, or someone of your team is near them.
To win. But what's very interesting about this is that the Metacritic critic review scores for Diablo Immortal have gone south. Now, what do I mean?
South? Oh man, they went
last video
south of the border
on Metacritic. Now it's around 60 to 70. A lot more mixed reviews coming in, and those mixed
nice
reviews
damage, bro.
are touching on microtransactions.
Body's still full HP.
The ones that came before, I guess
Can't
they
even catch up.
uploaded their reviews before even touching on the microtransactions. They got access to it before Blizzard implemented it. And I understand some people defending this, but we're at a point where mobile games and live services, you just have to understand that this is what publishers are going to do. EA infamously does this almost every single year with FIFA, and still those reviews are there day one, and I just find that kind of foolish at this point. I feel like these reviewers are being tricked or just not caring, but in this regard, the Diablo Immortal has gone down to about a 60, a lot more mixed reviews coming in, but on the user side, this game is just getting destroyed. It actually has a Metacritic record.
Awards and rankings. Number 85, best PC game of 2022. It's a mobile game. Number 2 most discussed PC game. That one I believe. That one I believe.
User side, this game is just getting destroyed.
User reviews. I don't know what this guy says. It's not English. Horrible scam that push you into spending a fortune. Unfortunately, I can only imagine this game is foreshadowing what to come when Diablo 4 releases. 0 of 0 users found this helpful. Really?
Destroyed. It actually has a Metacritic record.
Wait,
the worst game ever reviewed from users. It has a 0.2.
That should be here. Like, you see the awards? Where is it? The awards? It should be here. Worst review of all time. Actually is. 0.2 is the worst review of all time.
User side, this game is just getting destroyed. It actually has a Metacritic record for the worst game ever reviewed from users. It has a 0.2 out of 10, and that is just kind of astonishing.
And it's not even about the gameplay.
The Blizzard community is with this experience. There's around 1,100 reviews on the PC review page for Metacritic for Diablo Immortal, and 609 of them. Which
when people say, "But the gameplay is good," look, maybe for mobile standards, it might be. For an action RPG mobile standards, maybe. But it's not different. It doesn't do anything that other action RPG mobile games don't do. This bullshit here, this cooldown management bullshit, instead of resource management, is what all the mobile games do, and it's boring as fuck. All it is this. This is what you're doing, really. This is what you're doing. This is what you're doing. Literally. You're fighting, this is what you're doing. You're just spamming buttons like a motherfucker. It doesn't even matter. They can put all the buttons on one fucking button, man. Why is, like, how did I even click the power button? Jesus Christ.
Are negative, while
it's so
15
dumb.
are positive. And from my own experience, this is a really fun for a mobile
Oh,
game.
recharged. Look, everything is on cooldown all the time.
Blizzard's greed.
But you're feeling confident that no matter what it is, players won't be annoyed by the monetization.
What is with people
you
left?
know, we want to make a great game, and we'll be following its development, and we'll figure out what makes the most sense.
The lie detector test
Clearly.
that was a lie.
And I hope everyone watching understands that this is.
But the thing is, it's like at first when people were like blaming Wyatt Chang for his announcement and whatever, I was like, yo, it's not his fault, you know, like he was just told to do it. But it's like it's not his fault that they decided that Diablo Immortal is going to be the main announcement in BlizzCon. It's not his fault. He got nervous when people were booing him, and he said something that he shouldn't have. Do you guys not have phones? I get it. But you can't not blame the guy now, straight up lying about Diablo Immortal. Sorry, he's not really lying, but he kinda is lying.
Rolling in cash. According to App Magic portal statistics, the novelty has already earned over $5 million. This was just in the first day or two. The US makes 44% of the purchase in the game, while South Korea is 20%. Germany and Japan follow with a big lag with 7% each. The mobile industry is rolling in cash. They make billions every single year, and that is exactly what Blizzard wants in on. And there's a very good chance that Blizzard's not going to say shit about this controversy. And you know what's going to happen? They're going to continue to roll in cash, because they don't care about their reputation. And honestly, this is why Microsoft needs to get involved, because the decision makers, the management at Blizzard, well, they're looking at individuals such as this guy, New Zealand currency, spent over 10,000. He didn't even get one 5-star gem, which, oh boy. And then we have other individuals. This is an image that's been circulating around social media, and just looking at this alone, you can tell this individual is a mega whale, probably spent $10,000, $20,000 just on this character alone. Look at all of that inventory of legendary crests, just a couple thousand sitting right there. It's remarkable the psychological manipulation that happens in the mobile industry. Also, there is really one important detail that I think a lot of people are not understanding about this whole ordeal, and it's the fact that Blizzard knew that this reception was going to come. That's why we have not seen any reversal on these microtransactions or any announcement that they're going to change anything. Actually, in recent days, we've had the lead director, the game director on Diablo Immortal, pretty much fighting back against accusations that they lied and misled
that thing with the Zizern.
Wyatt Cheng on June 4th, referring to the criticism that they're receiving around legendary gems and legendary crests as misinformation. Yeah, that is their view on this. They said before launch that they would not be selling any gear in their shop, but what they didn't say was that there was going to be gems that you can attach to the gear which have gameplay boosts, gameplay effects, and the only way you can get the best of these gems is by paying up. And it's not paying just $100 or $1,000, it's paying $20, $30, $40,000 and playing the game of luck. That is misleading. That is exactly what Blizzard is doing. They lied to people. They misled. This isn't misinformation. It's pretty blatant pay-to-win nonsense, and there's a reason why Blizzard was very quiet about this greed. And just so everyone understands, Blizzard is not backing down. They do not care. They've seen the outrage. They've seen the protest, and they've projected it. The best example I can give is their recent social media post, in which they celebrated 10 million installs. And Wyatt Cheng, the game director, saying super exciting to see millions of players having fun in the game.
Oh my god. Can't wait till you see millions of players leave the game.
Big outrage surrounding the game. All of the articles being written because this was the game plan from day one. They knew this was going to happen, and they do not care because the money is rolling in, and that is all that matters. I know that a lot of fans of Blizzard have been holding out hope that Diablo 4 will not suffer the same fate that Diablo Immortal has, but unfortunately, some recent job listings has indicated the opposite. As reported by GameRant, a recent job listing suggesting that Diablo 4 could also feature an ungodly amount of monetization. And there's also rumors that this game could be releasing in the early half of 2023. And if that happens, that's probably before Microsoft even owns Blizzard and before they can end this nonsense. The listing in question, which is for a product manager for Diablo 4, says that the successful candidate will play a critical role in managing the Diablo 4 in-game store experience, which is described by the listing as a key component of the game's seasonal content strategy. Whoever gets the job will also be responsible for identifying sales trends and quantifying purchase behaviors, as well as using tools to configure prices and availability within the in-game store. Now, do I think it's going to be as pay-to-win as Diablo Immortal is? Probably not, but there's definitely going to be a bunch of monetization and probably a bunch of BS we'll be talking about in a number of months. This is the future of this industry, and right now the mobile game industry specifically is more of like a Wild West. Tons of loot boxes, tons of pay-to-win nonsense, and this AAA games industry has been trying forever to get this to carry over to console gaming and PC, and that wish may be coming true in the near future. But maybe that won't be the case with Diablo 4, at least according to the community lead for Diablo, which revealed on Twitter today that Diablo 4 is coming out as a full-priced game built strictly for PC console audiences. The game is huge, and there will be tons of content after launch for all players.
Built around optional cosmetics,
optional cosmetic items, and eventually full expansions. We will be sharing more information soon. Actions speak much louder than words. We'll have to see what happens with Diablo 4 in the future.
Language around it is not great.
Live services in the past just make promises beforehand and then just end up forgetting or not caring about that afterwards. So hopefully Diablo 4 holds onto this.
I'm
promise
totally
of just
okay
cosmetic items, because Diablo 4
with them releasing it with only cosmetics, and eventually they can add stuff like character boost and stuff like that later on. I'm totally fine with. However, in order to use the character boost, you need to have a character at max level or something like that, like some condition. Then I'm fine with it. I don't care. But no power gains, just kind of like time gains for money. I'm kind of fine with it. You know, it's like I've been conditioned to be fine with it, right? But it's like, again, if you're making a new character and it's like, man, I'm like tired of leveling this shit, then I'm fine with it. Or like, even honestly, this is the furthest I would go with what being fine with. If let's say there are tiers in Diablo 4, let's say you have tier 6, right? Like tier 6 sets, whatever. I'm okay with the boost also giving you like a tier 5, not like, or tier 4 if it's still kind of relevant as something to start off with. I'm totally fine with it. Right? It's like you need to wear something when you get boosted, otherwise, like, what's the point?
Looks like a great gameplay experience. It looks truly next gen. It looks like the ultimate Diablo experience I've been waiting for a very long time. It's just after Immortal, a lot of uncertainty with the future of this franchise and company. But this is definitely encouraging.
I feel like this needs to be more zoomed out.
Concerning job listing. But in regards
I
to
hope it's
Diablo
more zoomed out than
Immortal,
that.
This is an experience that I've actually
like, I can't
made to
see
the end
shit.
game. I didn't pay a nickel to get there.
The spells
I
take too much space
but I've
of
reached a
the
point where
screen.
it's pretty much game over for me unless I open up my wallet.
Yeah.
There's a legendary crest. You need those legendary crests, which are only available
Not,
by pretty much
but
opening
they're
up
not
your wallet.
elder
You
legendary
use those
crests or
legendary
whatever the
crests
name
to
is.
play the game of chance. You complete a dungeon, and then you have a 0.05% chance of getting the best gems in the game.
Hell
which
yeah,
is
brother.
Amazing gameplay boost for your character, which
Yep.
makes PvP and PvE very easy. But something that has not been discussed is charms, the charm system. This is, again, another pretty
Yep.
much
Oh,
loot
charms?
box.
Is that what it is?
These charms essentially are gameplay boosts for your skills. If you upgrade a charm to level 5, it likely will have boosts for skills you do not own. So like it'll have plus 2% damage to sprinting for a wizard, but you may be a barbarian, so that doesn't work out.
Oh, really?
So how do
Oh.
you change those skills to the ones that you possess? Either you do an endless grind, which could take maybe hours, months, year. It could take a very, very long time. And then there's also the other option, which is a long process of playing the game of RNG with a premium currency.
Hell
We're not
yeah.
talking, again, spending a couple $100s. You're going to end up spending thousands of dollars. That is the design. That is what Blizzard intended here. So if you want to get your perfect character, there's just numerous areas in which you're playing with loot boxes. That is the basic truth with Diablo Immortal, and what is so evil about this design, and why Blizzard deserves all of the anger and all of the outrage that they're receiving at the moment. In a recent Blizzard interview with...
I mean, I agree, but again, at the same time, as a mobile game, it's like they're not doing something that is out of the norm. They are just doing... The gaps are just way bigger.
Again, Wyatt Cheng and another Blizzard developer, they mentioned that this is a complete free-to-play game. We don't sell XP boosts. We don't sell gear. Kind of a lie.
They kind of do sell XP boost, I believe. Pretty sure. How did Rich get to 60 by spending money?
We want to circumvent those parts of the game. We want to make sure that the best way to progress your character is always going to be to play the game. Now, the issue...
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. You still have to play the game, but you can play it less.
With that is that there's evidence that there are hidden caps for free-to-play players, which basically
they're not very hidden,
playing
are
the
they?
game ends up being pointless at a point because
They are
Blizzard
not hidden
made
at all.
specific design choices to persuade players into spending money or preventing them from progressing too far into the experience or getting too good at the game. Because Blizzard, again, wants you spending thousands of dollars on this bullshit. As noted in an article coming from Forbes, there was a video recently done from EchoHack, a YouTuber, also a player with over 1,200 hours in Diablo Immortal already between all of the alphas, betas, and now the live release. What he discovered was that eventually the blacksmith upgrades become directly tied to your Paragon level, which again, there is just multiple moments within the later stages of this game in which there are level gates. But in this specific instance,
10, 30, 80,
you cannot go from rank 7 to
whatever.
8 on an item or 8 to 9 without hitting a specific Paragon level at max cap, which was not the case in the alphas and betas in the game, but because there's only so much XP you can even grind in a day,
But this cap is pretty much true for both payers and non-payers, really. Because as far as I know, you can't really. I mean, can you do higher hell difficulty at the lower Paragon if you're paid to play? Yes. But still, the 20% XP instead of 100%, like your XP that you gain is 20% because you're ahead of the curve for the Paragon level of the server. I believe there's no way to cancel that with money, so everyone is kind of screwed on the rankings.
A time gate on the road to the ultimate max of level 20. But then we get into the hidden caps, and this is what this YouTuber and his friends discovered. After 6 legendary drops a day, your drop rate severely decreases for future drops. After a group bonus for 6 normal gems a day, your drop rate severely decreases. Side quests stop giving rewards after 5 per day. Purple bosses stop giving rewards after 5 per day. Random map events stop giving rewards after 5 per day. These Zoltan cool treasure rooms are limited to 5 per day, and hidden layer dungeons stop giving gem rewards after just a few completed sections. And as Forbes' Paul Tassi points out, the problem becomes, since all of these caps are hidden, players will find themselves at diminishing returns and basically just playing the game for absolutely no reason and not knowing it. That is evil, and that is Blizzard's intended design. So
this is not new to Blizzard. They've been doing it with Legion, with the hidden legendary cap. Like once you get 2, it's extremely hard to get the 3rd one up until like 7.15 or some shit.
Oh, how do I end this
It's not
story
new for Blizzard to do that.
This is a disgrace and Blizzard can really go fuck themselves?
Hell yeah, brother.
I'll just give them a round of applause for pulling off this fucking greed. Like, really, there's nothing else I can say other than the fact that people really should boycott this and be extremely worried about the future of Blizzard.
I pretty much boycott all Blizzard games now.
To take this hands-off approach because there are concerns with Diablo 4. There should be concerns.
By boycott, I mean it's not that I don't play them; it's that I'm never spending money on them. Like I still have my WoW sub, but my WoW sub is tokens since like WoD.
With Overwatch 2, and Blizzard has just. I don't know what has happened to this company the last couple of years. It has just turned into an absolute disaster. And you can't blame all of this on Bobby Kotick, but the fixation on monetization in this industry is a problem and is going to continue to be a problem. I have been sounding the alarm on loot boxes and saying that this is not going away. And I fear that the Star Wars Battlefront 2, the next disaster like that in console and PC gaming, is something that will garner a reaction that we're seeing right now from Blizzard, which is pretty much a shrug and saying we don't give a shit. Because that is the message that Blizzard is sending, and that is not a good one, especially when they just don't seem to care about why people are upset. Capitalism, baby. I mean, that is what's happening here. They have to keep making more and more money, and these companies see the easiest way of doing that.
I mean, you can blame capitalism, but I mean, it's like, I mean, yes, but also like, yeah, if we were living under socialism, I mean, you wouldn't even have a Blizzard, right? So.
Is just with pay-to-win nonsense, not about creating an enjoyable experience, because that is secondary to making money for shareholders and investors. They do not have an obligation to make a fun game for you. They just have to make a game that is pretty much addicting to you. And with Diablo Immortal, it is working right now. Let's just hope that's not something that we're seeing.
I don't think a lot, like the players who paid money within the first week, they were not addicted to the game. Like to say that the game is addicting is hard to say because it hasn't been out for long enough. The addicting part is literally like demolishing people in PvP, but even that gets old.
About Diablo 4 in the next number of months or maybe a year or 2. On that note, and before I do end this video, I just wish to say something very quickly, and it's the fact that I critique video games. This is something I have done the last number of years. It does get frustrating that I have to keep repeating myself because this AAA games industry just keeps repeating the same mistakes over and over again, mostly the same company.
When you say mistakes, but for them, monies.
And I get it, some people seem to have this fixation or want of me to be positive about gaming. Why do I not do all these positive stories? There's a bunch of creators out there. There's a lot of content creators that...
All the positive stories are about like indie devs, basically. Gotta take V-Rising, Valheim, Elden Ring. Like these are indie companies, really.
Do that. My specific, I guess you could say, purpose, especially this channel, is just pointing out a lot of the greed, a lot of the nonsense happening. And I get it, some of the thumbnails are over the top. I understand that. But
my purpose is just making content, and we'll see what sticks, you know? Like, I just watch what I find interesting.
I do feel that this is needed. We do need
and
to
play what I find
fun, especially with Diablo
for now.
Immortal. But also, like a game Battlefield 2042, a game that was rushed out, Fallout 76, another game that was rushed out. It's not just players that are suffering, it's the developers behind the scenes. They are rushing, they are being overworked, and what's being produced is something that they know could be much better, but they're not given the time. And the reason why they're not given the time is because of money. It's the greed that is happening in this industry, and it is getting worse and worse with time. And I think people are getting normalized to this behavior, and it is kind of scary because I think we're...
Oh, they are, definitely. When people say it's like, it's okay, they're gonna fix it when it's out, they're gonna fix it later. Bro, why didn't you fix it? It's out. Imagine like buying a car and it's like, oh, they're gonna fix it on the second service. Like, what? No, the car should be fixed by the time when you buy it. It's a new thing, it should be fixed.
Getting close to a point in which what's happening in mobile gaming will eventually hit PC and console gaming.
It's been hitting it for a while.
I will continue to cover this.
But I wish I enjoyed Guild Wars 2 more, man. I really want to support ArenaNet.
At the BS whenever I see it. And yes, I understand I'm not going to be positive about everything, but you'll hear me, especially on Twitter. I hope you do follow me on Twitter. I talk about God of War Ragnarok. I talk about the games that I'm excited about. And there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. Games, and I hope that we can talk more about that in the future. But for now, games like Diablo Immortal, games like Fallout 76, games like Battlefield 2042, the issues with those experiences, the nonsense that is happening has to be called out. And it's not just myself. I'm honestly grateful for all the other content creators and even the gaming outlets that do that themselves. But I do want to thank all of you for this journey we've had the last number of years. And I hope you are here with me for the next, I don't know how many more years, but I do appreciate all of the support you guys give, all of the subscriptions, all of the likes, everything. I do check out the comments as much as I can. But again,
does that actually work when people say, like, thank you for the comments? Like, well, thank you for the comments, that's cool. I usually comment back with thank you as well for commenting. But, like, in the video saying, like, thank you for the support and all this stuff, does that actually work? I don't know, man. Like, I don't, you know, it's like, he says it and I was like, yeah, whatever, fuck it, like, I'm just watching it because it's entertaining, you know. Like, you're welcome, I guess. Like, I just like.
Most importantly, as I'm recording at 5 a.m. here on the East Coast, thank you. And I will end this video with my typical outro, asking what are your thoughts on the topics that we discussed today. Let me know down in the comment section below. But thank you for
watch my video. Those are my thoughts.
If you found any informative value, make sure to follow my other social media accounts for updates on new videos. Links are always down in the description below.
Congrats, Blizzard. Went from making the best games ever all the way to the worst games ever again.
So do make sure to follow me over there.
Yes and no.
Discord for all sorts
I don't think they're the worst
games.
ever.
Again,
but yeah.
Thank you for joining. Consider subscribing for more videos like this.
Awesome. All right, cool video overall. I pretty much agree. It is what it is, and it will come to PC. It's just a matter of time, and it's like a matter of people adjusting. But yeah, I mean, you know, count your blessings while you can, and we'll see what Diablo 4 has in store. Anyways, on to the next one.